People just don't get the memo that the group of 5 schools are in the playoffs, and that's going to be the teams in the playoffs, and it's not going to change. No matter how much you argue, y'all are arguing till you're blue in the face that James Madison shouldn't be in the playoffs because they're going to get blown out by Oregon. Tulane shouldn't be in the playoffs because they're going to get blown out by Ole Miss. And y'all are still saying that Notre Dame, Texas, BYU, and Vanderbilt should have made the playoffs, but they don't understand the simple concept that I've been saying since the playoff bracket came out, that if you want to get in, you should have win. It's that simple. If you wanted to get in the playoffs, you should have won your games to get in the playoffs. It's that simple. It's that simple. People are saying, oh, well, it's going to be a blowout, so it's not even going to matter. Well, if you want to look at last season, look at Tennessee. Look at Indiana. They got blown out. Does that mean they should not have made the playoffs? No. Even look at SMU when they played Penn State. They got blown out. That doesn't mean that they don't deserve to be in the playoff. See, this is what kills me as people when it tells me that a lot of people aren't sports fans. The thing you have to understand in sports, even in the playoffs, is that there are going to be blowout games. They're going to happen. There are going to be games where a good team who should have beat a bad team is going to get blown out by the bad team. There's going to be games where the bad team gets blown out by the good team. There's going to be games where the good team is not playing good that game or that night. There's going to be nights where the bad team is on fire and they're beating the life out of the good team. Y'all are saying like James Madison and Tulane have a 0% chance. You don't know that. You don't know the future. They could walk into Autzen Stadium and shock the world and beat them. Tulane can go into Ole Miss's stadium and shock the world and beat them. Just because they don't have the big name like these other schools doesn't mean that they don't deserve it. How I say, look, if you wanted these other teams like Notre Dame, if you wanted Notre Dame to get in, guess what, Notre Dame, you should have just beat Texas A&M and Miami when you played them. You should have won your games. It's that simple. If you wanted Texas in the playoffs so bad, Texas, you should have beat Ohio State, you should have beat Florida, and you should have beat Georgia when you played them. If you want BYU, you should have just beat Texas A&M, not Texas A&M. You should have beat Texas Tech when you play them in the regular season and in the Big 12 championship, because then they would have to put you in. If Vanderbilt, you wanted to make the playoffs, guess what? You should have beat Alabama and you should have beat Texas, because you beat Alabama literally last year. Notice how a lot of people are saying, oh, they should have gotten in, but yet you didn't win the games to get in. So if you wanted in, you should have win. Because if you win, guess what? The committee is going to be like, they did win their game, so we're just going to have to put them in. I'm not saying they need to go undefeated, but you should have won the games that you should have played, that you should have won. Has anybody ever thought about that? Anybody ever thought about that? A lot of people are complaining, saying the group of 5 doesn't deserve to be in. Yes, they do. They deserve a chance too. They deserve a chance. Just because you don't use them when you play college football, just because you have not watched a single game of them all season, just because they don't have some cheesy player when you play college football online, doesn't mean they don't deserve a chance. That does not mean that. A lot of people who are saying James Madison doesn't deserve to be in doesn't even realize James Madison is a pretty good school. They are a pretty good school. Kirk Cignetti, who is taking Indiana by storm, in his 2 seasons literally came from James Madison. A lot of people didn't even know that. Indiana fans didn't even know that. Some Indiana fans don't even know that. Tulane is not a bad school. There's always going to be a small school who has a good year, who's going to get ranked, who's going to get put in the playoffs. Always. And that's how it's going to be now. So what are you complaining for? Oh, well, Notre Dame, they didn't beat Texas A&M and Miami when they played them. So why are we complaining to put teams in that didn't win their games that they should have won? They weren't even conference champions. Notice how all the teams y'all are saying should have been in didn't even reach the conference championship. You know why Tulane and James Madison are in? Because the ACC didn't win the games they were supposed to win. Virginia, you had the chance to put yourself in the playoffs, and guess what you did? You pooped the bucket. You even were given extra minutes to get put in the playoffs, and you still pooped the bucket. Georgia Tech, if I can recall, how many games were you undefeated before you started playing like you don't know how to play football? How many games were they undefeated? They were like what, 7, 8-0, maybe 9-0 before Georgia Tech act like they didn't know how to play football. Y'all were leading the conference. Y'all were even top 10 in the country. But they forget that part. SMU, weren't y'all also leading the conference at some point? Weren't y'all top head honchos in the conference? And guess what? When you played Cal, look what you did. You pooped the bucket. Miami, they're in the playoffs. They and guess what? They handled their business. Tulane handled their business. James Madison handled their business. Everybody else y'all saying that should have been in the playoffs, guess what? They didn't handle business. They lost. You are just salty because your team is not good and they didn't make the playoffs. Whoop-dee-doo. Whoop-dee-doo. You will be okay. And if there are blowouts in college football playoffs, guess what? It's okay. It's going to happen. Blowouts happen all the time. They happen all the time. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll have more videos out there for you.